Today, we're going to explore a battle that's not being fought in an operating room, but right there on your social media feed. Yeah, it's a clash between doctors and viral misinformation, and it's completely redefining what it means to protect a patient's health in the 21st century.
It all starts with a sentence, just a few words that doctors are hearing way more often these days. I heard something bad about it online. Sounds pretty simple, right? Almost casual. But behind those 7 words, well, that's where you'll find a huge challenge to modern medicine, one that has literal life-or-death stakes.
Okay, so life or death stakes. I know that sounds dramatic, but what are we really talking about here? Let's get super precise. We're going to head into the nursery to see exactly how a few words online can turn into an absolutely preventable tragedy.
So we're talking about something called vitamin K deficiency bleeding, or VKDB. Here's the deal. Newborns are born with really low levels of vitamin K, and you need vitamin K for your blood to clot properly. A single, totally standard shot right at birth prevents any problems. But without it, some babies can have this devastating, totally unpredictable bleeding, sometimes in the brain. And the key word, the most important word here, is preventable. This is a known risk, and we have a proven solution.
And this brings us to a really crucial shift in how we think about this, and it comes from Dr. Chukwuma Onyeije. He argues that when a parent says no to that vitamin K shot because of something they saw online, well, that isn't just an opinion. It's a modifiable clinical risk factor. It's a real, tangible threat that a doctor has to manage, just like they'd manage high blood pressure or diabetes.
Okay, so if the problem is really starting online, then the logical question is, can we fight it there? This is where we leave the exam room and step onto the social media battlefield, where a war for the truth is literally being fought tweet by tweet.
But this brings up a huge question. Once something goes viral, once the misinformation is already out there, can you even correct it? I mean, is it too late? Well, a team of researchers, Emily Vraga, Sojung Kim, and John Cook, they actually designed an experiment to find out. They wanted to see what happens when you confront a lie head-on, right there in the social media trenches.
So here's how they tested it. They took this viral, totally false claim about the HPV vaccine, and they replied to it using 2 different strategies. The first one used humor. You can see it. It's a cartoon that kind of makes fun of the bad logic. The second approach was a direct, logic-based infographic. Just the facts. So which one do you think is the better weapon in this fight? A good laugh or cold hard logic?
Well, the results were pretty wild. For the HPV vaccine, it turns out both corrections, the funny one and the logical one, they both worked. They actually reduced people's misperceptions. But, and this is a big but, when they tried the exact same tactics on really polarized topics like gun control or climate change, the corrections had almost 0 effect. Nothing. It's like the facts just bounced right off.
So here's the takeaway, and it's a big one. Just correcting the facts isn't some magic silver bullet. Sure, it can work sometimes, but it's not a universal fix. For those really deeply held beliefs, the ones tied up in our identities, just throwing a counter-argument out there is just not enough. And that suggests the problem isn't just the bad information itself. It's the whole system that's delivering it.
And that leads us perfectly into the central argument from Dr. Onyeije. His whole point is that maybe we've been looking at this all wrong. This isn't a content problem. It's a systems problem, an architectural failure. This is the core of it right here. Dr. Onyeije is saying the problem isn't that doctors need better talking points or fancier brochures. No. The problem is the digital infrastructure itself. The social media platforms, the search engines, they're built in a way that actually amplifies lies. It creates the risk long before a patient even walks into the exam room.
And to explain this, he uses a really brilliant analogy from the world of software development. It's called a code smell. Now, a code smell isn't a bug, it's not crashing the program, but it's a huge warning sign that something deeper, something in the structure of the code is wrong. And that sentence, "I heard something bad online," that's a clinical code smell. It's a surface-level symptom that points to a massive systemic flaw in our information architecture.
So what is that deep systemic flaw? Dr. Onyeije has a name for it: algorithmic capture. This is what happens when a person's decisions get hijacked, not by facts, but by emotionally charged content that's fed to them by an algorithm. See, the algorithm's job is to keep you engaged, not to keep you informed. It completely bypasses critical thinking and just builds this strong sense of conviction without any real comprehension. This is the machine that turns a curious parent into a terrified one.
And this right here, this lays out the brutal reality of the situation. You know, back in the day, the physician was the main source of medical info. But now,
A doctor's 15-minute visit, which is based on years and years of training, is competing against hours and hours of algorithmically curated content that's designed to be scary and engaging, not accurate. It's a completely lopsided, asymmetrical fight.
So if the whole problem is the architecture, then it stands to reason we need architects to fix it, right? And that brings us to this idea of a new kind of hybrid professional, the physician developer.
Now, a physician developer isn't just a doctor who happens to know a little bit of Python. No, it's a clinician who actually thinks like an engineer. They're not just focused on one-on-one conversations, they're focused on building systems, scalable, reliable educational tools that can act as a kind of critical infrastructure for the truth. And how would they build this new infrastructure? Well, by borrowing some really smart principles from the world of open source software. First, transparency. You show the data, you show your work, and that builds trust. Second, reusability. You create one great video or infographic that thousands of other doctors can then use and share. That's how you scale your impact. And third, clear documentation. You create a reliable source of truth that makes it way harder for bad actors to twist the message.
And hey, this isn't just a theory, it's already happening. There's a paper from Taxer and their team that shows physicians are already stepping up as builders. For example, a team at Wake Forest School of Medicine built a whole new digital rounding list to make inpatient care better. Now, sure, that was an internal tool, but it proves the principle. When doctors see a systems problem, they have the unique insight to build a system solution.
Which brings us to the final and really crucial point. This work, this business of building better information systems, it isn't just a cool side project for tech-savvy doctors. Dr. Onyeije argues that it's a new ethical imperative, a core duty for the entire medical profession. So for the clinicians who step into this digital arena, the whole definition of success has to change. The goal isn't to go viral. The goal is to be the top, most accurate search result for a worried parent at 2 in the morning. The goal isn't some clever takedown tweet, it's just unwavering, simple clarity. And the goal isn't to be new and novel, it's the reliable, steady, consistent repetition of the truth.
Because here's the bottom line, really. When credible, expert voices are missing from these online spaces, those spaces don't just stay empty. A vacuum is created. And you know what fills a vacuum? Fearmongers, influencers, and algorithms that have absolutely zero accountability for what happens to patients.
And that leaves us with this one last thought. If we accept this idea that viral misinformation isn't just a communication problem, but a deep architectural one, then that forces a whole new question on us. It means it's not enough to just run around debunking lies. We have to build better systems. And the only question left is who's going to step up and be our architects.